Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Chris Aquez, and this is your best life defined. So, hey, let's get right on this. Hey, guess what? One a day. I think this is coming up on this is podcast number 14. For 14 days in a row, I've delivered a podcast and a video. Yeah. I mean, I'm proud of that. That's pretty cool shit right there because I'm living in a fifth wheel, all right, and getting the sound right and getting the light right. And I got to apologize for the videos I did last night because they were really dark, looked pretty grungy, but I'm getting one out a day. One out a day. You know why? I don't know, it's something I can do and because right now I really suck at it. I don't feel quite like me yet, but yeah, one a day. Huh. Wonder where it's going to take me. Oh, just suppose it would take me, man. Imagine. So imagine that amass this massive following, and I become famous, and you guys are sitting here, and you're like, he sucks, and all of a sudden I've got like 3,000 podcasts, and I've got all these stars and people just because, not because my podcast is that great, just because I've done so damn many of them. That'd be cool as shit. All right. Anyway, hey, so what are you up to? What's your plan? Hey, I was kind of curious. I'm thinking about this. Title of this podcast is Just Suppose, and I wanted to ask you a question. I know you're probably not interested in my bullshit. I get that. But let's just suppose you wanted to do more of something in your life. What the hell would you do? I mean, pick it. Just like you're sitting down in your chair and you're kicking back and you're drinking a beer and you're just thinking about life and you go, what would I like to do in my life? What would it be? Now, if you pick something, I'd pick something good. Like even though I'm right now, I want to be sitting in Florida. I want to be sitting in Florida on the ocean with warm water and warm weather. This cold ass Colorado weather is kicking my butt right now. But what about you? What would you love to do? Where would you love to be? Got it? Maybe what is it? Boating, fishing, hiking, traveling? I mean, you pick it. It's your dream, right? But let's just suppose you pick this dream and then you say, how could I get there? So now mine is to get to Florida, and we're going to get there probably in the fall if everything goes right. But how do you get to your dream? Let's say your dream is owning a big ass bass boat. And why would you own a bass boat? Because that's shit you love. You used to love bass fishing when you was a kid, and even when you was growing up until you was about 18 and 19, and then the boat wasn't as important as the girls, and then the girl didn't like the boat, and then the boat rotted in the backyard, and then there you are. And now you're working your butt off, you're overweight, you haven't been fishing in a few months, and if you get to go twice in the summer, that's about all it gets. That's about all you get. Don't. Hey, it's not my fault. I didn't do it. I didn't do it, but I was there. I was there. I used to live that life. No, and if you're digging whatever you're doing right now, see, I kind of screwed up early on. I got on this idea that everything about the conventional lifestyle was wrong. And I'd be talking, how can you mow a lawn, and how can you have that big ass house and all that debt? Because I was on a rampage to change my own life, and the best way to do that is to get an attitude toward the life you currently have. You got to get kind of pissed off at the life you have if you want to actually kick it in the ass and change it. Like what I'll do is I'll get in my head about being fat or something like that, and I'll be like, man, I'm weak because I've lost a lot of muscle. I haven't been able to work out as much as I have, and I'll get on my ass until I shame myself into doing it, right? And this podcast thing is that's just like that because this is a just suppose for me. I just suppose I do a podcast every day. I mean, what can it hurt? I mean, the world's already pretty screwed up. I mean, but let's take a look back at your life. Just suppose, let's see, we've decided we're sitting down, we're drinking a beer, we are thinking about our dream, and we've decided on a big ass bass boat. Now, your partner, let's just make it easy on ourselves. Let's pretend your partner already loves the lake. She loves hanging out, or he loves hanging out, doing the jet skiing and the tube thing and all that, even if they're not into boating or fishing. I mean, being on the water is being on the water, right? So let's just say that she's on with it. Now, what would be the next step if you actually wanted to make that happen? Well, I mean, if you have plenty of money, you could go out and buy the boat and just start doing it. But that's not true because if you had plenty of money, you'd be doing it, right? So that means you probably got to change something in your life that's sucking a little bit. Now, I remember telling a story a while back about a guy who owned a big ass boat and a crappy house, and I kind of chuckled at it. Me and my wife did. And when it came down to it, the joke was on us because this guy had decided that what he loved to do was own that and own that boat. Loved fishing. He loved being on the water. That was his thing. So instead of doing like a lot of us dumbasses do and trading everything he loved for a bunch of stuff that was, yeah, it's cool. People say, "Oh, look at your house. Ooh, look at your car," but it ain't nearly as much fun as bass fishing. You know. So suppose you decided, well, maybe we could downsize the house and have a little more access to some of this stuff called life. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Wake up one day and say, "Oh, you know what? I only have to work 4 days this week because we're making enough money and I don't know anybody. You want to go fishing? You want to go spend 3 days on the lake? We got the money. All right, let's do it." Can you imagine? That's the life, right? Because the reality is if you look at the media, and I don't want to bust ass on the media, but the reality is if you look at what's going on in our world today, the media is telling us how we need to be, even now. Be afraid, don't be afraid. Be afraid, don't be afraid. Be afraid, don't be afraid. Come on. It's craziness. But if we stepped away from all that and we just asked ourselves, "Hey, Chris, what do you want to do?" I'd be like, "Well, I want to travel. I'm a little scared because eventually we're going to lose this lifestyle. Not having much fun right now because the weather sucks and the trails aren't open. If the trails were open, I'd be out hiking. But there's snow. There's still snow packed. I mean, we're sitting in the mountains. So, but what would you imagine if you chose that? If you said, we want a boat, and your partner was in line with it, how could you get that boat? Well, you could do what we did. Not to say you want to live in a fifth wheel, but follow me here. We downsized, or we built our life around. I mean, our life around what we love to do, and one of the things we love to do is to travel. So it made sense that we provide ourselves with a way to live that lifestyle at the highest possible level, at the best quality. I'm like, this is my hotel room, this RV, right? So this is the platform for our life. I mean, this is how we launch our life. And we spend a lot of time here. We do. It's comfortable. It's a nice place to hang out. But it's the launch pad because I can pull my launch pad anywhere in the country, Alaska, Canada, Mexico, and I can launch my life. I can wake up in the morning and say, "What would you find out?" She's like, "Well, there's mountain trails, bike trails over here, and we can go hiking over here, and there's a really cool place on the ocean right over here, and blah, 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 blah." That's the life. Yeah. So, what's keeping you from what you really love? Because you're going to die. We all die. Let's get past that. The question is, you're working your ass off too right now. The question is, what are you working your ass off for? Hey, don't kill me. I'm just a messenger, for God's sake. But the reality is, it's not actually your fault. I'm going to give you the break on that. But just suppose someone told you a story, or your grandparents a story, and it was such a pretty, wonderful story that, "Oh, yeah, we can do that." And the next thing you know, they're living this dream. They have the house and they have the car and they have credit cards, and of course credit is the most wonderful thing because you have a score. You have a credit score that tells the world and you how much money you can borrow that you can't really afford to borrow. So what happens? So, and I don't care what you think about our advancements in technology or any of that. The reality is this: we're just a tribe. We're like the Native Americans who taught their young, their kids, how to deal with hunting and how to build a fire and set up a teepee or whatever they live in, and to tan hides and to do whatever they do, make arrowheads. And that's what they did. They learned it, and that's what they did. And guess what? We learned the same thing. But just suppose you stepped away from that idea. Suppose you said, let's go ahead and make this shit all about me. You mean all about me, all about where I just wake up in the morning, and granted you have to work, but everything that you work for goes towards something that actually friggin's cool instead of just working to work. Because that's what we do. We add things to our life and they make us work longer and harder, and then with this ridiculous plan that we're going to retire. Yeah, I'm going to retire in another 27 years. That's what they say. I mean, retirement is if you ain't living it now, you're not going to live it, because I guarantee there ain't going to be any more money when you're 65. They're taking it away quicker than we can earn it. We're grinding it out right now for all those people up on the hill. Get over that, man. So just suppose you decide that maybe you can handle all this bullshit and you can move forward on this thing. The next step would be find resources to buy that boat. That would mean, let's see, maybe downsize the house. Instead of driving that big ass $70,000 truck, maybe you could move to a $40,000 truck, takes the equity out of that truck and add it towards the boat. And then look at that big ass house. You guys, you have worked so hard in that house, you don't have time to enjoy it. You're gone working 10 hours a day to pay for it. And when you're home, you're not lounging around sitting in all that fancy ass furniture and under the gazebo in the backyard. You're trying to get kids organized and get the house clean and get some stuff done and maybe get a few beers in you before you go to sleep. Why don't you wait till you have time to use it to buy it? I mean, that's like buying a fancy ass car but that you can't drive yet. I don't know. You want a boat? Take a look at that big ass house and ask you, how much do you really need it? How much do I really love what comes with all this, right? And then change it. You don't have to, no one gives two shits what your house looks like. I mean, well, I guess they do. When my wife told her coworkers that she lived in a fifth wheel, one of them squawked, "You live in a trailer house?" Yeah. So, yeah, I sure do. Yeah, and I spent July in Bar Harbor, Maine, and I spent the winter in Florida, and I spent the fall in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I'm sitting in Colorado for the summer. What's your life look like? Come on. I guess, I mean, I could go on about this, but you see this plan here? So what I did was we sized our life, or we built our life around what we love to do. And what we love to do requires us to travel. So we get to wake up every day and we get to do the things we love to do. And every time we come home, it's our bed, our sink, our kitchen, and our life. And I can hook it to the truck and we can drag it around anywhere we want. And it's choice because I haven't seen as much of the world as I want to see before I die. If you haven't caught as many fish as you want before you die, or if you haven't caught the fish, the biggest fish you want, or if you haven't sailed so much that you get tired of it, but you dream of it, then you kind of don't want to wait, because being 65 or 68 and 40 pounds overweight with diabetes and high blood pressure is not the time for you to start going and adventuring. Now, just suppose you streamlined everything about your life and you managed to make this happen. Imagine what it would be like on let's say it's just 5 nights a week, or 2 days a week and 4 nights. When you get off work, you don't come home and work. You come home to get your boat so you can go spend the summer playing. And then when winter comes, you put your boat away, or if you're lucky and live someplace where there isn't winter, wait, there's an idea. Hey, maybe we should move your life someplace where you can fish year round if you love it that much. I don't know. Hey, I'm just making suggestions here. Hey, this is my idea, though. It's just suppose. I mean, you don't have to listen to any of this crap, but the reality is, my life's going to continue to keep going because I'm working on this book, I'm working on this podcast, and sadly enough, I haven't actually managed to get as much writing done because I'm trying to master this thing. This is tough. This is tough stuff, trying to do a podcast every day and then be authentic and be myself, because I have a serious case of mic fright for some damn reason. So, but anyway, hey, listen, as always, I just want to jump out there. This is I don't know, day 14. I'm rolling them out. I'll just keep going until I run out of breath, I guess. But thanks for listening. My wife appreciates the fact I have someone to talk to besides her. Because I mean, as great as our life is, our house is not that big. Okay, so I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Hey, listen, I'm loosening up. If you got questions or comments, please contact me. I'm on social media. Share the stuff you like. I'm just trying to give you some ideas. You can do whatever you want. I mean, and especially now, COVID-19 is rolling in, and some lives are going to change. And I guess the tragedy in that is if they're going to change and you're going to face that struggle anyway, why not face it in a way that when you come out of it, you can say, well, at least it's better now. At least we're ready now. At least we have a handle on it. At least we're spending more time doing some of that shit we love. You're making your life better. But it starts with defining it. You got to define that life. You got to define it. And then when you do that, then you're rolling with it. So I could go on, man. I'm having fun. I hope you have a wonderful day. May you be blessed. May all your family and friends be blessed. And, just try a little kindness. It'll work. I think it works. We can listen to each other. But I kind of stepped away from social media because it's really gotten noisy for me. It really hurts my heart. So anyway, guys, until next time, my name's Chris Hawkes. This is Your Best Life Defined, and this is where we're going to do it. All right, until next time.